Welcome back to episode 89 of Mega Man 3. This is my favorite video game of all time, and I could talk about it for hours. So anyways, for the past 2 years, my girlfriend and I have been fighting a lot. And as of a few weeks ago, I decided it was time to break up. She bought me a pet turtle as a parting gift, which I decided to name Sprinkles because that's what I used to call my ex-girlfriend. Hey Sam, could you throw up a picture of my turtle? After about a week of watching Sprinkles, I noticed that he was moving around pretty slowly, so I did some research, and apparently you're supposed to be feeding turtles at least daily, which had not been happening at all. So I'm searching around my pantry, I'm trying to figure out what would a turtle even want to eat. I find cookies, and I figure, who wouldn't like a good cookie, right? So I throw some cookies on a piece of paper, toss the paper in the oven, and then I head out to the library. When I got to the library, I started looking around for some cool books, and I found something called the dictionary. So I sat down, I started reading it, and before I knew it, 6 to 7 hours had passed. So the receptionist is like, hey, I'm sorry, but we gotta kick you out. And I was like, oh, that's fine, I was just getting wrapped up in this book. And then she sees it, and she's like, whoa, is that the dictionary? And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, I am so impressed right now. I'm shocked that there are people who even read this books that are this big anymore. And I was like, yeah, it's always been a hobby of mine. Come to the library and start reading all the classics. You gotta read all the classics. So, the goal for my summer is basically to get through every single book in this library. And she was like, okay, yeah, that's makes sense, I guess. And then she was like, the dictionary is actually my favorite book, because apparently her dad had read that book to her every single night before she went to bed. She then asked me what my favorite word was, so I told her, pneumo no ultramicroscopic silica volcanoconiosis. So then she was like, no way, pneumo no ultramicroscopic silica volcanoconiosis was actually my great-grandma's middle name. She was the first person to discover that disease and die from it. Then I rushed home because I realized, uh-oh, those cookies are probably a little bit burnt at this point. So I open up the door and I get hit by this weird smell. So I'm calling out to Sprinkles, Sprinkles, buddy, you home? No response, which was pretty ordinary. I mean, it was a turtle. But I was not ready for what I saw next. I walked into the kitchen, and the oven door was wide open. So I take a peek inside, and there's Sprinkles on top of one of the cookies that he was trying to eat. I ended up eating fried turtle for dinner that night, and it was pretty good. 7 out of 10, would do again, except for all of the emotional trauma that came from it. The color green is now a very big trigger for me, though. Hey, Sam, could you show the audience what the color green looks like? So, anytime I see that color, I suddenly go into depressive states, my PTSD is set off, I start to have schizophrenia, basically every single mental illness that has ever existed just happens to me. That's why I'm playing Mega Man 3. It's just a great way to unwind, relax, and trauma dump on every single one of my viewers. Another awesome thing about Mega Man 3 is that it's actually very well renowned for having the least amount of green in any video game of all time. Well, this is highly unfortunate. That's all for today, but I'll see you guys next time on episode 90 of Mega Man 3.